but seriously, a lot of the reason I don't use certain brushes is because
Lord only knows what it took to make you.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I want to do a video on brushes I hardly ever use and the reasons why I hardly ever use them. Everyone talks about brushes that I use all the time, my go-to brushes, my holy grail brushes, and I hate it when people say holy grail about a brush or makeup. It's just not a word or a phrase that should be applied to brushes or makeup. So I just want to put that thought out there. Now I know my hair is a bit greasy and a bit yucky, so it does need washing, but I just thought I'd do this video before I set out on my day. So, brushes I hardly ever use. Brush number one is this gorgeous, very dense, very soft, very beautiful, very clean right now because I hardly ever use it. So it's from Wilko's. It was £5 I believe. The reason I never use it, I have used it, I mean it's not like I literally never have used it, but the reason I don't use it is because it's just too big. I mean, if you're, I'm not being rude, but if you're a person with a bigger face than me, I am quite small, I'm very petite in the face. The coronavirus masks, the blue ones, they're too big for my face. I actually use children's ones mostly. My nose is just really going for it at the moment. Last few days I've had this really runny nose. So here you go. It's huge. And the reason I don't use it is it's just too big. I mean, I suppose I could do an all over powder, you know. So I love it, I just don't use it. And another thing I like about it is it's got a handle bit there that you can just use. And yeah, it would be a very purposeful brush, but hey ho. So this one I think was either £5 or £4, I can't remember which, and it's a stippling brush. And I hardly ever use it because I have other stippling brushes that I use. I've got a So Eco one that I use instead of this one. Again, Wilko's, same one, smells lovely because, again, a lovely beautiful brush, but just the same from Wilko's is my bent eyeliner, and the reason I don't use it is because I don't like gel eyeliner. I'm quite old-fashioned for some reason. It's not old-fashioned, it's just what works better for me, and I prefer a pencil eyeliner because I feel I've got a bit more control. Like with gel eyeliner, I just find it quite difficult to use, and it ends up being really thick and stodgy, and it just doesn't work for me. So why use that when I'm not using a gel? Why use that when I'm not using a gel eyeliner? I mean, you could use it to smudge out a pencil eyeliner, but I just don't use it. So what else do I never use and why? The brushes I do use the most, and I know this video isn't about brushes I use the most, it's about brushes I use the least. But the brushes I do use the most are BH Cosmetics. You know, I do use those like loads, so that was definitely a kit worth buying, although I bought two. So this is from ELF. It's a detail brush detail brush, and it's really precise. I think it's £1.50 or something like that. Why do I never use it? I've not had it long, a few months, and again I think it might be the gel eyeliner thing that I don't use, but I know you can use it to like just dab a little detail on if you want to be like, you want to do a cut crease, or you want to do a little bit on the end of eyeshadow, or you could do the white spots that you put in there with it, but I don't. Again, it's just a brush I hardly ever use. Like I said, not had it long, so I'm going to give that one a chance. A lot of the reason I don't use certain brushes is because there are other brushes I use that have the same use for. There are other brushes that I'm more likely to use. This flat So Eco brush, it's a flat foundation brush, and the reason I don't use it is because I don't prefer flat foundation brushes. I prefer other brushes for foundation and not so much flat ones. When I bought it, I've had it quite a while. I've had it, I would say 4 years at least. It was about £1.50, so I think it was on offer, or £2 or something. And at the time I bought it, I was less familiar with brushes, especially foundation brushes, because I always, you know, I'm one of those older ladies. Not old, just older. Like, it's not like I'm 22 or 23. And I grew up in the era where you just applied your foundation with your hand. You know, we didn't use brushes. When I first started using makeup, we just didn't use them. So another brush that I don't use very often is the small toothbrush style paddle brush. And this is by IB Beauty, Ion Beauty, I don't know. And why don't I use it? What would I use it for? It's too big for eyebrows, so I wouldn't use it for eyebrows anyway. You could use it for concealer on your eyelids or primer. You could use it for nose contour, but I don't contour my nose. You could use it for under eye concealer, but I don't. I use other things for that. It's not that it's a bad brush, it's just like I said, I have used, like the other brushes that I've mentioned, I have used it. It's just not one I use often. And another one is my other oval brush. And I really need to use oval brushes more because they are cool. I mean, that one could be used for all kinds of things. And this one is Precision Beauty. They've called it a contour brush, so I guess that's what it's for. But I don't contour very often, so that's probably another reason why, if it's purpose-built for contour and I don't contour very often, and when I do contour, there's other brushes that I kind of use because I like quite light contour. I don't like these big, you know, I just kind of like to blend it in quite a lot. So there are some tucked away that I hardly ever use, and I'm going to show you those. I have far too many, so I'm not going to show you every single one. I've got some in there, I've got loads in there, so I've got some in there, and I've got another pencil case like this, and I have Simple Essentials. Now, Simple Essentials are brilliant. I do love the brushes, just don't use them very often. It is a roller case, and as you can see, I have used them. You can see, especially that one, I think you might not be able to tell, but they are used and cleaned up. Eye brushes are too big, so the reason I don't use these eye brushes is that most of them, apart from the blending ones that you just want to, you know, do a last minute blend with, they're just too big for me. And they're all so similar. I mean, those, I know that's an angled brush, that's a round top, and that's a flat top, but seriously, like I said, they're just too big to use. And these ones, I think I liked, when I first got them, I liked them so much I didn't want to use them because I didn't want to ruin them. And that sounds really pathetic, I know. And I have two of these. So I have two of those, and I think I have F2 and F3. So I have two. I have one each of those. I need to get more use out of them. I really do need to get more use out of them. I've got a flat top Kabuki though, which I could really use for foundation. Irish Firm Blank Canvas. Now I do love this brush. A lot of the brushes I don't use is that I love them too much and I don't want to spoil them. It sounds so ridiculous, but they are so cute and so lovely. And the blank canvas ones are amazing. I have two of the blank canvas ones as well that I don't use either. I have used, and again I've used this one, it's just that I just don't want to spoil them. They're just so lovely and gorgeous. And another brush I adore but don't use because I don't want to ruin it is that one. And this is from Bliss. I mean, it might be a knockoff of something else because I've seen similar brushes that are more high-end, but I don't know if Bliss is high-end or not because I bought this. I buy a lot of things in TK Maxx and I've not always heard of the companies before. Well, not the Wilko's ones obviously, but a lot of them I bought from TK Maxx. I use these shape and style brushes. I use quite a lot because I think they're useful for so many things. It is a finishing brush, so you're supposed to just sweep over everything to when you finish your makeup. You can use these for blusher, you can blend your contour in. These style are versatile. I find these, for my shape and size of face, I find these quite versatile. And I've got about 3, not all the same, they're not all the same, but I've got about 3 that I use a lot, 3 or 4 that I use that are similar. Some are bigger, some are smaller. That one was about £3 or £3.50, and that one I think was £7. It's pink. It's pink, ladies, it's pink. So in here I have Carla. I don't know if you know Carla brushes. I got these in TK Maxx. They were not very much, and I think you got 3 or 4. So I got those 3. Do like them. Had them about a year or so. Can't remember what I paid. £6 I think, $5.99 or something. But I think the writing's rubbed off. Oh no, the writing is on the thing. So I don't know if you've heard of Kestrel, but that is obviously a contour brush, and I used to use it a fair bit, and I think it's brilliant. But again, I don't often contour, and it's quite a precise, very sharp cut. I mean, you could do your nose with it, which I don't because I don't contour my nose. So a brilliant little contour brush, just don't use it. Don't contour often enough. 3 studio brushes, again, which I really love. I've got 2 packs of these. These were £3. They were reduced, and they're from Superdrugs. So there's the brand name at the bottom. So you may recognise them if you go to Superdrugs, like I do a fair bit. And that's the top of them. So they're all different shiny colours. I mean, you can see they've been used because you can see the, you know, they've been cleaned. Everything's been cleaned. They're just, you know, still the pigment doesn't always come off. And I've got this from PS, which is our favourite, very loved. I always forget the name of this shop. What's it called? The cheap shop that everyone loves. Scandinavian. What is it? Primark. So the PS from Primark, PS Pro, it was about £1.50. It's just a little pencil brush. My friend from Canada had one very similar, so I bought this to replace, because she wanted her old one, but I ended up with her pencil, and she wanted it back because she said she used it a lot. So a few years later, after she'd visited me, years later I visited her, and she insisted that I sent her it. That was it. I sent her it. But I don't use it, and it's a shame because it's such a great little brush. I just don't use it. I bought that, I think it was £1.50 or something. That's from Superdrugs. It's actually got no name, make written on it at all, but it is a Superdrugs one. It's really big, and it's supposed to be like a concealer brush, like you're supposed to, I suppose, do under your eyes with it or something, or if you conceal your eyelids, some people do, you know. But again, I just don't use it. I have so many other brushes. I do buy too many. I know I buy too many, and that's the reason that I have too many. It's the reason I have more than I need, because I see them and I like them and I want them, and then, you know, I just end up